Hi,
Okay.
everybody, and welcome. We are so excited you could join us with our visit with Miss USA, Erin Brady. Mia Voss and I and Steven Sabludowski had a great visit with her a couple of weeks ago, and she had so much fun with us. She's ready to join us again, and this time, as you can see, it was a quite popular event because our film strip is full. So welcome, Erin. I am so glad you're here.
Me too. I'm glad we were able to squeeze another chat in down here in the bayou.
Yep, because you're only there for what, another week?
Another week.
Okay, so we're going to catch up with you a little bit. Mia and I were talking to you about things like food and all the special things you've been doing while you've been there.
Yeah.
And then we'll let everybody jump in.
Sure.
So tell us, let's start with the food. What has been your favorite thing that you've had so far?
Well, I'm an oyster junkie, so I judged an oyster shucking contest one of the first days that I was here in New Orleans. So I was able to go and check out Bourbon Street and have some of the best oysters that I have ever had.
Because our film strip is full. Erin, I am so glad you're here.
Thank you.
I'm glad we were able to squeeze.
Hey, Erin, if you can find that little video player, you want to hit pause or mute on it, and that'll help get that echo out of here. We're just having fun with Hangouts.
We've all done it.
Yep, because you're only there for what, another week?
Another week.
Okay, so we're going to catch up with you a little bit. Mia and I were talking to you about things like food and all the special things.
Okay.
Erin, we had to mute you for just a moment. You have an extra window open that has the video playing. So
Everybody raise your hands who's done it.
Done it.
We've all done it.
Why don't you find that extra window and turn that off so we can get back to visiting with you. And then you can unmute yourself at the top.
I'm excited she got to do a oyster shucking contest. How fun is that?
I think that's like a bonus, isn't it? Just because you are who you are, you get to be in all these special things, whatever you want to choose.
Well, yeah, I mean, all your favorite stuff's like, what do I like best?
I think everybody's probably so excited she's down there and having her stop by, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm sure everywhere she shows up, everybody's wanting her to pose for photos and things. I would.
Am I back on?
Hey,
Yes.
You're back, yay.
Yes, she
I'm
is.
sorry.
That's okay.
Did you hear what we said? We've all done it.
No, I just heard myself over and over and over. Like a bad dream.
That happens when you Miss USA.
Yeah, it happened.
Absolutely.
Crazy week.
Absolutely. By the way, I do want to thank the Bayou Buzz audience for helping out with this, be involved, and I certainly want to thank all the people on the panel. And so I'm sure that this will be a really exciting time. Why don't you let me just ask one question, and that is, I asked you this question last time about Donald Trump, and I just want to start off again and ask you, what type of person is he really? Forget his hair. What kind of person is he?
To be honest, I've had the pleasure of meeting him and hanging out with him on a personal level probably 7 or 8 times now, and I really clicked with him. I'm a businesswoman, so it's been nice to kind of share that commonality with him, and he's an icon. It's just quite the presence to be in with him. Anywhere we go, he's just striking, and people gravitate towards him, and I think it's very interesting to be in that inner circle for the few times that I've had the chance to do so. I really like him. I think he's a very opinionated person, but he obviously knows what he's doing in life, and I'm very lucky that I've had the chance to interact with him and speak with him, not just in the pageant world, but actually on a personal level too, so I'm very lucky.
That's really terrific. I think my audio and video is now working. Susan?
Yeah, you sound much better.
Yeah, Susan.
Yep.
Why don't you introduce yourself then, and why don't you, if you don't mind, tell us something about yourself, and why don't you ask a question, please?
All right. Susan Finch. I am Susan Finch Solutions, and I do just about everything you need online, from graphics to website design to wrangling comments to putting comic graphics and repurposing your content. But my question for Erin, and everybody probably asks you what your favorite part is of being Miss USA. What I want to know is when you pass the crown, what will be the thing you will not miss?
I will not miss having somebody else tell me what I do every day. That's been the hardest part for me, is being 26 and being a very independent woman and having somebody else plan your day-to-day activities and where you have to be and what you have to wear. And yes, it's great, but after a year of it, I think that's the one thing that I will be kind of relieved to get back, is my independence, and the ability to plan my day-to-day life will be very nice. So I'm actually leaving from Baton Rouge and going away for a week and a half to California to explore Northern California. I've only been there once before. So I'm looking forward to that, because I don't have to worry about anything, and it will be a very stress-free trip for me.
It looks to me like you're going to trade your tiara for a halo.
You know, right? I thought it was a nice change for the day today. I've been wearing the crown all week, all year, so I figured got to get used to not having it on all the time, you know?
Sure. Stefan, you're next.
Oh, I have a very, very serious question for you, Erin.
Why don't you tell us who you tell us?
Oh yeah, sure. So Stepan Hovnanian, I kind of do a lot of the same type of thing that Susan does. Focus a lot on Google Plus and business, trying to weave that whole thing together for you to build a great web strategy. But my very important, serious question for you, Erin, is if you had 3 apps on your phone, what are they? Three apps and only 3 apps. I
would have my CNN app, because I'm a news person and I like to know what's going on in the world. Seamless.com, which is the ability to order anything in New York City to your doorstep in about 15 minutes. And because I'm a finance chick, my bank account app, because I need to know what kind of money I have so that I can live my day-to-day schedule.
So you can order from Seamless.
And I can order from Seamless and make sure I have enough funding to do so.
That's a great question.
I had a question for you, Stefan. Are you Armenian?
I sure am.
Okay. Your last name gave it away.
Yeah, it tends to do that.
I'm a quarter Armenian. That's why I asked. My grandma is 100%.
Oh, cool.
Which quarter? Which quarter?
The best quarter.
Sorry?
Which quarter?
The French Quarter.
The French Quarter. Oh, okay. Gotcha.
That's very fitting since I'm down here.
That's right. That's right. Now, Ronnie Binzer. By the way, Ronnie runs the Mastery Center, where all these people are coming from, and this is where we learn all the tricks and trade. Ronnie Binzer, the Mastery group. Why don't you ask a question and tell us more about yourself, please?
You bet. Hi, I'm Ronnie Binzer. Hi, Erin. I'm Ronnie Binzer, the Hangout Helper. I help people use this wonderful, magical communication tool that we're using right now called Hangouts and Hangouts on Air. It's a phenomenal way to communicate your message. That's what I do. And I have a question for Erin. Erin, over the last year, how have you seen the technology change such that your job and communicating your message is different than maybe when you first started?
Yeah, well, I think like Skype and FaceTime has been great for me, because I'm a family person and I'm not always able to see my friends and family. And my grandma, who's 76, purchased an iPad mini so she could FaceTime me when I was in New York. So that's been really great for me, because I can show her around my apartment and take her around the different locations that I travel to. So it's been really nice for her to get an inside scoop as to what's going on in my life, even though I'm not as close to her physically as I used to be. And I think I really was not tuned in with like Instagram and Skype and Twitter before all this, because I kind of was a private person. But being Miss USA, they're very, very adamant about making sure that I know how important social media is. So I think for me, I have learned so much about branding yourself and marketing yourself through social media, and I think it's been amazing, because it's been great to have my fans be able to follow my journey, being from all over the world, through social media. So it's been really a great tool that I'm glad I've got to know a little bit more about.
So a quick follow-up with that. Is
Sure.
there anyone that tries to manage your presence? In other words, when you are on social media, are you just free to do whatever, or is there somebody sort of watching over your shoulder?
I think I'm free to do whatever, as long as it doesn't hurt the image of Miss USA. I think you know, I have to take into consideration that I am being watched by my fans and a lot of a younger demographic. So I just have to be very choosy as to what I decide to post. And again, it's hard, because everybody has a phone and can video you and take pictures of you and put things up that you may not want to be up, so you have to be cautious everywhere you are and everywhere you go that you're making the right decisions for the year, because heaven forbid somebody snaps a shot of you doing something naughty and puts it all over the web.
Don't want that. By the way, just want to mention that the panel here are what I call the superstars of Google Plus and Google Hangout, and so I really thank them for joining us. Michael Daniels, you're next.
Oh, great! Thank you. I appreciate that. Hey, gang, how are you? How are you? I'm so glad. So glad to be here. I do a lot of different things with Hangouts. A lot of different things, trying different things. I'm a baseball coach, anywhere from a baseball coach all the way up to helping with doing this, getting the comments and stuff. That's what I was helping Stephen with today. So my question to you, obviously being a beautiful woman as you are,
thank you.
How tough is that to date for this year? And how do you pick that? And how do you read through that and the, I don't know, the not so cool guys, let's say, okay?
So I have a very, I had a very easy year because I've been engaged for almost 3 years.
Awesome.
So somebody already swooped me up a few years ago. So I didn't really have to deal with much of that.
Fantastic, fantastic.
Yeah, so yeah, I was kind of lucky I could wean through all of that with showing them my ring finger, you know?
And I have to add, Michael Daniels, the last time he missed out with me and with me, he's like, oh man, I wanted to do that. So here he is.
Well, now you got your chance.
I know, I did. I also have been doing this thing with this game show type thing too.
Yeah.
I've been doing this for the past couple of Fridays and Sundays. I got all kinds of stuff I'm working on. Maybe we can sneak you in as a guest maybe one time or something.
Oh, I would love that. I love game shows.
All right, there you go. There you go.
I love that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Mia, you are next.
Hey, Erin.
Hey, Mia.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
So I am Mia Voss, and I have 2 shows. I have the Mia Connect Power Chat, and I have the Food and Booze Show. And that's what I do here on Google. And then I also have a building inspection business because I like to mix it up, right? I trade this out for a hard hat. So, Erin, I'm so impressed with you. I love it that you've got this business background. So what are you going to do now for business as an entrepreneur?
I have been told by 7 people in the past month that I should write a book about my life and my journey, so I am absolutely going to do that. If it takes me 30 years, I don't care. I feel like writing all of my life down is going to be really cool and important, so I definitely would love to do that. But I also want to really stick to my finance background because it's my interests, and I think it's a great field to be in, especially living in New York City, but I would love to combine it with entertainment, so maybe pursuing something on CNN, CNBC. I would love to be a part of a show that can incorporate and educate people about business world and finance world, but kind of more in a fun way. I think bringing personality to something that's kind of a bland subject to many is going to be the right technique to make it so that everybody wants to learn about it. So that's my goal. I think once I get back and kind of clear my brain, I'll be able to figure things out. Update my resume with Miss USA, which is actually a lot harder than I expected. But I'm looking forward to it. I think for such a planner, it's really hard for me not to have something lined up for right when I return. But I also think it's a blessing because it has been such a crazy year. So I think a couple of weeks of me just getting my thoughts together will be a lot beneficial than just jumping right into something new.
I love the book idea. I think that's smart. Yeah, because you'll have a lot to say. Like it's a
good. I'm looking forward to it.
As far as your program, the TV program, how about a Hangout program?
That would be great. I think the internet is really the way to go. A lot of people have said, what about your own YouTube channel or like you said, a Hangout? I think it would be really interesting to kind of incorporate that too.
Well, this team here,
you're with the right team.
I mean, you're with the right team. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, Martin is now in California, although he's from Britain, and he's the comedian of our group. Sure, absolutely. Martin,
Thanks.
how are you?
I'm doing well.
Hi.
Good, Erin. Yeah, they're throwing you to me now. You're ready, aren't you? Okay. So I wanted to run something past you. Because you seem kind of progressive. You've got a business background, and I know some people will look at the Miss USA and Miss World sort of areas and see that as almost a bit traditional, and you probably run up against that. Is that right? You know, you get occasionally, people comment.
Of course.
So how about this? Yeah, because we can see over the next, I don't know, 50 years, 100 years, technology is really going to progress very quickly.
Yes.
So you do business, you know Donald Trump. So I'm gonna pitch you an idea right here on this. Okay, you've got Miss USA, because you're Miss Universe as well. I think you won that title. Do you?
No,
right?
we haven't Miss Universe. She's from Venezuela.
Okay, so there's a Miss Universe. Okay, that's that. So we've got that as a concept. What about this? A Miss Multiverse. Yeah.
Ooh.
So we tie it into string theory, and we look at which Erin Brady would have won the Miss USA title based upon the decisions that she made in her life. What about that? I think.
Wow.
Yeah, I think. Look, just hold on to it. No need to act now. There's no rush. You don't need to tell me. You can come back to me in 20, 30 years' time. I'm just
I love it.
Miss Multiverse. Just checking it out there. All right.
I like it.
Okay, good. That's what I did.
And your question, Martin, is?
The question is, are you in? Don't have to tell me yet, but I'm going to wait. I'm going to keep that open-ended question. I don't want to know yet, Stephen. But
Okay.
I will ask the more serious bit. Well, how do you deal with it then when people sort of say, it's from the 80s or from the 70s or 60s as a throwback that people are focused on beauty? How do you deal with that?
Well, I'm a very unique individual. I think me coming into this environment of pageantry is very new in my life, so I came in with a very different mindset. It's a job. I went and I interviewed for 2 weeks here in Las Vegas for the job of Miss USA, and I just tell them that we're not what you really expect. The beautiful thing of it is each girl is very unique, but it teaches you self-confidence and the ability to be a public speaker, and you're the face of a brand, so you learn how to brand. There's a lot more business involved with it than people think, and I think being a business girl, I've been able to showcase that to people. So I think this was a great year for me to kind of take their brand and their name and show people a different side of it.
Jessica. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Martin, go ahead.
I was just having a chat. It's okay.
Okay, Jessica.
I love it. Hi, I'm Jess. It's nice to see you.
Hi, Jess. I
there.
recognize you from Twitter.
Yeah, I know. It was really fun to come across you the other day, and the official E. Brady. I thought that was a fabulous Twitter handle for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and that way we can follow you after you retire. You pass on your crown next week.
Yes.
So I am a purposer. I am a digital strategist, and I help people in their businesses do anything related to taking something that they've already done and really helping them get the most out of it, because their ideas are great. Sometimes they just need an outside set of eyes to look at it. And with you being the role model that you are for so many people on so many levels, how did you in yourself identify the potential to say, you know what, this is what I want to go do, and I know I've got what it takes to do that?
I think just the path that I've taken in my life. I'm the oldest sister of three girls, so I knew that I have that role model already in my blood, and I said, you know what a great ability to showcase all of the great things that I have to offer on such a global scale. And when I competed for Miss Connecticut, I went on a whim and I came first runner-up the first year. But I think it was a blessing because I was able to learn about it and kind of bring my own little unique character to it. And when I won and I went on to Miss USA, I think the great thing is when I was standing there on stage with Miss Alabama, like my whole rest of the crew of women were chanting for Connecticut. And for me, it was so great because I think I've stayed true to who I am, and I think I have a lot to bring to the table from my heart. And that's really what I wanted to showcase this year and bring all of my great attributes that I think I have and show people that. And I think I've done a great job because I've gotten a lot of positive feedback and notes and letters and messages from people that have followed my journey and told me on how much of an impact I've made on them. And that's really the special beauty of this, is if you can stay true to who you are throughout the year and remain very humble, I think it really makes an impact on so many. So I'm glad I was able to do that.
That's really awesome, Erin. So what would you say for somebody who is exploring themselves and trying to figure out what path that they want to take? How would you help them say grab onto something that's their potential and run with it to show their sparkle, just like you have in the past year and your journey up until now?
I think you have to really love what you do, because you can't fake that you love what you do, because people can read on it. And this is a very hard job to have, because even on your worst days you have to still put a smile on your face. But I would tell people that really stick with it, because for me it took me 2 tries to become Miss Connecticut, and then it took a lot of hard work to be Miss USA. So if you have the passion for something and you really believe in your heart that you're made to do something, even if you fall down 15 times, that is a reason. You're learning more and more each time that you fall. So take all of it and run with it, because if this year proved anything to me, it's that if I want to do anything in my life, I can do it. So I really think that if you love something and you're passionate about it and you have the oomph behind it, run with it, because life is way too short to, just have what ifs and what if I did that or what if I did this. Run with it. Take risks and put yourself out there, because from my finance degree I learned greater risk equals greater return. So
that's right.
Yeah.
I like it.
Thank you.
I know we have some great comments, Stephen. Can we highlight some of the
absolutely.
comments? Oh, that would be great. There was an early one, and it's just very sweet. Let's see.
I'm just bringing mine up to say, I'm just saying, there's public support for this idea, Erin. Yeah?
I love it. Hashtag Miss Multiverse.
Exactly. Look, I'm telling you, we're onto something here.
I love it. That is so cute.
And there was a nice one too from from Kim Boltram.
Yeah.
She wanted to know if you and other contestants keep in touch afterward.
I do. I roomed with Miss Delaware, and she moved to Australia, of all places, and we actually have been chatting all week, because she's asking me, remember last year that this time when we were waiting till 2 in the morning to get spray tan? It's like so random. But the beauty of social media is I've been able to really keep in touch with about, I'd say, at least half of the contestants that I competed with, because, I don't know, it's great if you can still have relationships. You spent so much time with these girls and experienced this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So if you can keep in touch, you're like the representative of their class. So a lot of them are coming to see me give up my crown, and I'm excited to see them.
Mia, I think you had a question.
I do. I have one from Ammon Johns. What is the single greatest thing that you've been able to bring attention to in your year as Miss USA? That's a great question.
Yeah, I think, honestly, what I wanted to break the stereotype of a lot of pageant girls, and I know that sounds so cliche, but when people ask me, like, oh, what was your goal for the year? Well, of course, the charity and all the great things that I've been able to do, but I love hearing, oh, you're not what we expected you to be. When I hear that, my smile gets kicked up to a bigger notch, because I love that people can see that we're relatable and we're funny and we have a sense of humor and we're normal human beings, because so many people hear that you're Miss USA or Miss America or whatever title you may carry, and they automatically put this guard up of like, oh, they already have a preconceived notion as to what kind of person you are. And when I leave meetings and groups and I have people say, you're not what we expected you to be, I'm like, yes. I did it.
That's fantastic.
Michael.
Yes, question from Carmen Rojas. Question to Miss USA. Any advice for parents of little girls who want to get into pageants?
My advice would be, if your little girl wants to be in pageants, then you could absolutely do so. But if it's somebody else's dream that they're trying to make their little daughter be in pageants, then I don't necessarily think that's the best thing to do. But I think if the little girl loves it and wants to be in it, I think it's a great industry to be in. I think it's really showcases so many great things, public speaking and self-confidence, and it really teaches you a lot about yourself and about how to interact with people. It teaches you a lot about just yourself and meeting other people and traveling. So I think it's a great thing to do, but as long as they have an interest in it and their heart is in it, I think it's great.
Now, before we get back to Michael's question, Martin, you're going to be leaving, I understand, in just a couple of minutes. So obviously you have a big question.
Well, I'm curious. I mean, so when people meet you, do you find that they're nervous at all, Erin?
I think it depends on who it is. I see a lot of girls get very shy and bashful, but then I get right down to their level. I get down on my hands and knees, and I hug them, and I laugh, and I make jokes, and I try to take any kind of nervousness away, because what they don't know is I still get butterflies and nerves when I'm thrown into a room of 50 people that I don't necessarily know, because you don't know their reaction to you, whether it's going to be a little quiet or they're going to be excited. So it's kind of a mutual nervousness, but I hope very quickly that when I meet them that I can just kind of break the ice and let them get relaxed and enjoy themselves.
How about guys?
I was just going to say, who have you met where you've been really nervous then? I mean, I just wondered, is there one person that you had butterflies before you met?
Well, when I first won and got to go back to New York, I kind of got thrown into walking a real red carpet for the premiere of The Heat with Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. So I'm like on this red carpet after 2 weeks of competing in a pageant, and here I was standing next to Sandra Bullock like, oh my God, I was really, I had butterflies because I never in my life had met anybody famous, and to meet people of that caliber, I was really taken back, and it was really cool to be mingling with them, but I'm pretty good at covering up the fact that I'm nervous. I talk a lot in general, but when I get nervous, I talk even more. So,
Michael, Michael, I'll think of another question.
Yeah, that's a fantastic segue into this one from Kevin Burns. Since you have likely had the opportunity to meet various famous superstars, folks, since winning the Miss USA title, who did you meet from this group of people that made you feel like you were the luckiest or happiest girl on earth? I think that's a good question.
To be honest, it's not even necessarily the famous people, because they meet so many people every day that they have to be like pleasant and happy. I think it's the people that think that I'm the famous one that really make me feel more special, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does make. Now, you have a question for any one of us by chance? I mean,
I do. I want to know, like, how you got interested in talking to Miss USA. Like, how did this whole thing come to be? I think it's fascinating, and I'm so glad that I've had a chance to do it twice, because this is very cool. But I love that people like yourselves are very interested in kind of integrating with this crazy pageant world here.
Well, you see, what happened was I got an email from Donald Trump, and he asked me to contact y'all, and I'm just teasing about the Trump.
Oh my God! I said, wow.
but no, what happened was I did get an email, telling us that y'all were going to be in the state for the pageant, and so. Basically, I just went to my friends here and said, hey, think about what we can do with this. I mean, because you're such an incredible person.
Thank you. I'm so glad. No, I've really enjoyed this. It's been cool to be able to get to meet people that I don't even have to necessarily be in the same room with. People around here are looking at me saying, why are you talking to your computer?
It's the magic of Hangouts. That's why we do this.
Great. So I also wanted to ask, because you're so up with the technology, are you ever overwhelmed by how quickly technology is transforming, or because it's so you're so
every week?
Yeah, I'm thinking almost sometimes daily. Depends on how much I find out in a day.
But you know what? One of the biggest tips is if you realize you don't break it, you just keep poking at it, eventually it'll work out. That'll take a lot of the pressure away, and I think a lot of young people know that. Some of the people that are a little more older are afraid, and you just you just can't be afraid. Otherwise, it'll move, and you'll never catch up.
You know what's really interesting, if I might add, and that is that a lot of people think that it's the younger generation who is hip. I got to tell you, on Google Plus and Hangouts and all, you will find that it's people who are my age, God forbid, but maybe a decade, 2 decades younger, older. So I think we've really made a tremendous gain. And I think that you as Miss USA and in the future, in terms of the financing background, you could really help out this particular industry tremendously, and we really encourage you to do so.
Thank you. I certainly will. I think it's great. I mean, I'm, again, bringing up my grandmother, but the fact that she was so scared to be getting involved with Facebook, and now the lady's on there 24/7. So I think it's just so cool to see how they find it to be very easy. She has her iPad mini, and she does online banking and navigates around it sometimes better than I do. So I think it's great to see that even people like my grandparents are really catching on.
Let's see, Ronnie, you have a question.
Real quick.
Oh, Stephen.
Yeah, I was just actually, that's what I was just going to say, is that things are changing like all the time, but the trend seems to be toward as natural as humanly possible. Like
right.
Ronnie uses the expression, like the technology is going away.
Uh-huh.
So, if from a technical standpoint, yes, some of these things are, they get annoying, but by and large, as long as you're doing your thing and you're just being you and being authentic, that's going to last months, years, decades.
Right.
So, which is a good thing because that's real easy to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ronnie, I think you're behind a question.
There's a question here from Tom Rolfson. He's saying, and this is to Erin, if you'd not been successful in winning the titles, what career path do you think you'd be on now, differently than what you're doing?
Well, I would still be in finance. I was going to go back in the fall of last year to pursue my master's degree and get an MBA. So I would have had an MBA. And my wedding was scheduled for last November, so I would have been married. And I still would have been in finance, though. I think not much has really changed in that regard. I was able to have 3 years in the actual working experience of finance, and I got to see how successful you can be in such a short period of time, especially being a female in that industry. I think it's breaking barriers that have been placed all around in the finance world, and it's great to see now all of these women in powerful roles in the business atmosphere. And I still want to take that on, but now that I have more of a broader voice and more people know me and I've had the ability to really network and meet some incredible people in the industry, I'm excited to take it a step further.
You've got more oomph behind it, as you said.
Exactly. I've got a little bit more oomph.
when you were talking to Stephen, asking, how he put this together and why, when he approached me on it, part of my motivation was I was hoping you would break that stereotype.
Thank you.
Of the pageant people, because my daughter and her friends watch these horrid shows.
I know.
Between all the beauty ones, the dance moms, the LA, all these horrid shows, and all they do is perpetuate all these stereotypes.
I know.
And
I'm up against a lot.
Yeah, and I know that Stefan and I both have daughters, and we're always trying to give them that inner beauty, pep talk. Yeah. And how to bring that out. And, yes, looking at you, it's difficult to just say, oh, yeah, you rely on your inner beauty. But to be able to give these younger girls, a little bit of advice from you on how to stand up for themselves and for who exactly they are right now.
I think that's the other thing, too, is being able to be comfortable with your flaws. And the one thing I could say, people are like, oh, what are 3 words you would use to describe yourself? And I always say that I have a very magnetic personality because I embrace my flaws and I still am very confident about it. So I think that fine line of cocky and confident, obviously you have to be more confident, but when you show that you have no fear about being who you are, people really like it, and it really allows people to feel more comfortable around you, and I'm glad that I was able to do it for this year.
Ronnie.
As we'd like to bring in the voices from the crowd, not just those in the film strip, so that's why we do this. And this is from Kevin again, saying we're seeing firsthand how you're real. You're a real person, down to earth, authentic, genuine, and smart. Refreshing.
Thank you. That's sweet. I need all the ego boosting I can get this next week, so I'm soaking it in.
I've got one from Italy, actually, which is exciting. Wow. This is from Nazim Beltran. You're perfect as an engager in Google Plus and Hangouts on Air. That's what HOAs are, not homeowners association, which is great. This is what you would love if you decide to get on Hangouts, is the freedom. Because each of us, we all have our different programs, and we just create whatever we want. My line is I celebrate the hot mess, because sometimes you just fall apart. You saw how we were in the green room trying to get everything together.
I love it.
It's a lot of fun. It's a lot of freedom to it. So you just kind of roll with it too. But that's from Nazim. He says you've definitely got a presence. So that's all the way from.
Thank you.
What really raises an interesting point, and that is that this is worldwide, obviously Italy. I'm from New Orleans. Susan, you're from? And let's go down the list real quick.
From Portland, Oregon.
Okay. Stefan?
Outside Boston.
Cool.
Ronnie?
Colorado Springs.
Michael?
Greenville, South Carolina.
Mia?
Denver, Colorado.
Jessica?
Seattle, Washington.
No. Isn't that amazing, though? Isn't that amazing that we're here? We're here today
Colorado
on Monday.
Wins, by the way. Colorado wins. They have them
Represent.
That sounded like the football intros.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so let's, I liked something that Susan said, and it made me think about image. And when we think about image, there are so many different ways to look at it. And I'm interested in terms of the breaking of the barriers. What are some of the ideas or thoughts that you have that we could continue to break the barriers of image or stereotypes or boundaries?
I think the great thing is just knowing the contestants, for instance. Each of these girls have such amazing stories, and they're well educated, and they have, really they've fought through hardships in their life, and they've fought through all these obstacles and been able to end up on top. And now just being able to represent and have a voice for their states and being able to come here and work with organizations and charities, I think what people don't understand is these women have such amazing stories. And unfortunately, not everybody gets to know about it because you just see a competition in a swimsuit and evening gown. But I feel like it's a very hard job for the judges, and it's a very hard job for me because now I'm very picky. I feel these girls have some big shoes to fill, and I'm very particular. But I think it's great because it is a very difficult choice because they have so much more to offer than what you see on the outside. And no matter what anybody says, obviously it is a beauty pageant, but our motto is confidently beautiful. And there's so many different aspects of beauty that I hope people will understand and get through this. And it's not who you see in a photograph that you may think is the most beautiful. There's so much more involved with this process. That's why the girls are here for 2 weeks. And then they have an entire year to showcase all of the great things that they have to offer. So that would be my one thing is don't take it as just the surface level. Know that each of these women have a very unique story and very great backgrounds, and they have a lot to offer and to bring to the table.
I love the part that you were talking about, the skills that you have learned or refined throughout this year. So between learning how to present yourself, learning how to speak in public, learning how to behave in situations, and to roll with it, and to, when it's uncomfortable, how to handle that with poise. And I think those are skills that not just girls, but younger people in general don't always get that training anymore, and it's so valuable. It is what will set them apart from their peers, no matter what their level of skill is.
Exactly.
That's the first thing, because it's that relationship, and that's what, all of us here are constantly hammering that it's the relationship. And what you're saying is, through these types of experiences, maybe not a pageant, but something similar where you were required to learn how to be out there. I think that's valuable for any of them.
Yeah, it really is.
I wanted to say one thing, too. I just want to say you have a lot of people sitting right here in this panel that do shows all the time. I think it would be absolutely amazing to get some of these contestants, if you talk to them, to do hangouts to get that word out. Let me tell you what, these people can make a difference inside here. They do hangouts all the time. I think that would be an amazing thing.
I'm going to let them know because, like you said, it's a great opportunity for them to get their voices out and to be heard.
We're actually thinking about going up to Baton Rouge and actually to try to do some things this weekend. By the way, you're in Baton Rouge now, and you went down to New Orleans, or you're in New Orleans now, and you're going up to Baton Rouge, one or the other. But tell us about Louisiana. Last year it was Las Vegas.
Yeah.
This year is Baton Rouge.
It is, and everybody, the contestants, myself, and all of the people that are working here can't get over the amount of hospitality. Everybody, it's a stressful 2 weeks for the girls, it's a stressful 2 weeks for us, but it is so relaxed and so homey and so warm and welcoming here. It really has taken away all of the excess stress that being in a chaotic world like Vegas was, and we've all been in bed before midnight, which has been beautiful because in Vegas sometimes we'd be going out at 11:30 or 12 o'clock at night. So we've loved it. The food has been exceptional. The weather has been great. It's been 40 degrees in New York, so it's been beautiful to come here every day and be like, oh, it's 80 degrees.
Absolutely. Ronnie, you have a question.
Yeah, this is a question from Scott saying basically, how is a citizen-produced interview like what we're doing here with this Hangout On Air different or not different than what you normally experience?
It's a good question.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't had an opportunity to do a lot of online interviews like this where you can get the demographic to reach all over the United States. It's usually, either in a classroom or a place where people come to me and they're right in front of me. I've done a few phone interviews with people, but this is great because it's beautiful to put a face and to see people's personalities actually in front of you, and the ability to do so with people from all over. So this is very different.
Is the level of interaction different, meaning we can ask you a question and a follow-up and other people can ask it and bring them on in? Is that different, or is that similar to what you've been doing?
It's kind of similar, but I like this because I like that I'm able to respond directly to you, but then I'm also responding to questions from people that are interacting with you. So I kind of like the whole feel of this. This is really nice.
You know, we have a game show. We have a game show right here. I mean, we should continue this next week. I think we can get a great audience.
By the way, Erin, we call that drinking the Google Plus Kool-Aid. Yeah. We all drink a lot of it. Real quick, I just want to say, I can't pull it up, but Tammy Henry says her 10-year-old daughter, Elena, says, hello, Erin.
Hi, Elena.
Thank you.
Jessica, I think you have a question.
Yeah, actually, Mia got one of them, and it was more of a shout-out, and the other one is, as Lakeshia Brown always says, just do you, boo, in regards to all the image and the other conversations that we were having. I thought that was a good one to pipe in.
That's beautiful.
I saw that. That was cute.
Yeah.
Stefan, you're going to
ask?
Yeah,
well, you know what, I kind of have along these lines, had a question for you. So here we are, we're talking about how you'll be able to interact with a group here as well as a live audience, and then obviously there's a whole YouTube component to this, after the fact. So we have an opportunity here, and I'd love to see if we could do something with it unique. You have an opportunity to really just empower, anybody who's watching this now, or or later. So how can this is, instead of like give me three of your favorite things or whatever like that. Let's give a call to action here, if we can, to empower people to really go out and be that personal brand. And what kind of advice could you give to us, Erin? Does that make sense, or I totally confuse you?
I'm a little confused. I'm sorry.
That is the end of the question, Stepan. Just the end of it.
The end of it. So how can we empower people that are watching now or whatever to really just go out and be the brand that you've been able to build for yourself, like just calling on some of your experiences? What can we tell them to do that'll help?
No, I think that if they have a passion in something, like they're not the only one that's passionate about it. So you really don't know the ability and the impact that you can have until you get yourself out there. I mean, I think I've seen a lot of girls, for instance, on their own YouTube channels, girls that are passionate about talking about makeup or cooking, and it's great because they get all of these followers, and I think that's very motivating because it doesn't take much. I mean, if you have a computer, which most people do, or a phone, you can sit there and record yourself and have these little quick blurb videos that people start to catch on to, and then that in itself, it's contagious, and it kind of empowers you. Wow, it's so simple. I can just record myself singing or doing this, and I think do it. I think that's the people. You're your own worst enemy, is what my dad always said. Don't ever question yourself. Just go out and do it. And now you have so many tools that are free. It's very inexpensive to promote yourself with social media, with YouTube. I think that's the beauty in it, is it doesn't take a lot of time or effort. It just takes the initial steps of going out and doing it, because you'd be amazed by how many people have become successful because they've taken that extra step and decided to promote themselves and put themselves out there.
That's exactly what these people have done in this film strip. Their shows, by the way, are just absolutely terrific. We'll have to send you links to them.
Yeah, please do. I would love to watch them.
Sure. I think that Susan's got a question.
I do. This is a tough one. We talk about inner beauty, and we're talking about how much it comes from within, and you have our confidence from within. I'm going to pose this tough one to you.
Yeah.
From Greg Trujillo is, then why are there no women that are disfigured in the beauty pageant?
I know, and I think that's a very great question. I actually had my first experience in California this year. I was able to sit in the audience, and they had the first blind and albino girl that competed for the title of Miss California USA, and she was able to go on to Katie Couric on her show and talk about it. And I think it's educating people. I think it's been traditional, like so many years of the same thing over and over, that it's hard to integrate all of that, but just seeing that gave me goosebumps. This girl came from so much and was so different than everybody else, but she was able to go out there and find that she was beautiful in her own way, and that was probably one of the most amazing things. She had an audience of almost 400, 500 people that stood up and were just ecstatic that she was able to get out there and do it. I think it's it's educational. You know, I hope that eventually that things will change, but it's about teaching people and getting the word out there before things will start to happen. I mean, I wish that people had the abilities to feel confident and to be able to do it, but it's a learning process, I think.
I think it's more of that breaking the stereotype again, what you've already been tackling, and it isn't just, it's training the audiences, but it's also training the people themselves to have that confidence in themselves, no matter where they are, that I can do this.
Right.
I mean, my daughter can't sing, so she knows better than that. And she has other things that she could, you know, show up and do. I mean,
exactly.
And what about compassion in that too? I think there's an element of that confidence that we talk about and that inner beauty that is a compassion for everybody else and what their journey is and the stories that we have to share.
Exactly.
I can honestly say that I would never have a chance in the Miss USA. I just know I wouldn't. I just know that for a fact that there's no way that I would ever make it. I just couldn't.
I like your confidence, though, Michael. Oh, that's great.
Okay, let's do a lightning round real quick, and then we'll close this up for the hour. Lightning round would be a question within 10 seconds and a response within 20.
Okay.
How's that, Susan?
all I want to do is it's just love coming to you. So Andrew Hatchett says this lady undoubtedly gets it. I have asked all my questions. I am so pleased I got brought in to meet you again. My question is, when do we get to do something, whether it's on Mia's show or Michael Daniel's show again, because you're fun.
Oh, I would love this. I'm going to leave after the pageant for a week and a half to just unwind. When I come back and I'm refreshed, then we will absolutely jump on it. So I'd say by the end of June.
Let's do that.
Okay, Stefan.
Do it.
Yeah, I'm kind of in Susan's boat. I should have saved my app question for now.
That was a great question.
Thank you. Yeah, I keep that one in my back pocket all the time. So,
I love it.
All right. I guess my lightning round question to you, since you're a quarter of Armenian, do you have any favorite Armenian foods?
I do. My mom makes chudeg, if I'm saying it correctly, which is the bread.
Good answer.
Yeah, that's my favorite. She makes it for every holiday. So I'm learning the secret recipe from years ago.
That's awesome.
Ronnie Binzer.
All right, Erin, I help people use Hangout, so I'm going to ask you this one. Will you, after you've got your time off, join me in a Hangout where you can help people understand how to be present in a Hangout? Because you do a phenomenal job, and this is one of your first ones. You're looking at the camera the whole time. Phenomenal.
Oh, thank you. I would love to. That would be great.
Michael.
That's fantastic.
Mr. Confidence.
That's Michael. Right. That's right. I am going to ask the same thing that Ronnie just did. I guarantee you. And I would like more of people like you that you meet out here in the pageant to get them out there. I really am sincere about that. Let us help you get that word out. Let's have a game show where they can come on and just have some fun with it. Just enjoy it and have some fun with it.
Really cool. And I think the girls would love it too because, again, they've got a lot to say, so any outlet they can use to get their voices out there will be great for them too.
Perfect.
Thank you so much, Michael.
Yes. Michael, listen, a new game, Miss USA. I mean,
I'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'll do it.
I'd have to get a little sign off from the Donald on the title.
That's true.
That's true. He may fight you.
Oh, come on. You know, we can take Donald. Yeah, Mia.
With that hair, he hit you.
We'll do G plus USA. How's that? We'll do G plus USA.
There it is.
Back and say, come on my show too on the Mia Connect Power Chat or on Food and Booze, girlfriend, because I know you're digging it. So.
I'm a foodie, so I would absolutely love to be on that.
Okay, that'd be good. I'll figure out too if I can find a way if we're in the same city too. But so that was just my question. Come on one of my shows and I'll ping you once you get your break. But I just want to tell you, I know you're saying there's the stereotypes, but when I got asked and I nerded out, I told you that the last time when they're like really? Yes, duh. But I went and looked at the video, the YouTube that Steven sent. And your stereotype, your image that you have out there already, the brand is working because you do come across that. You get that message out. So nice job.
Good. I'm so happy. Thank you for telling me that.
Absolutely.
Jessica.
All right. Well, let's see. I am going to also say, come join me on any of the shows that I host or participate in. That would be really, really fun to have you on. Bring some friends. You know, the whole idea of telling our story and really being real is so important. and just being real and sharing what we have in common or not, or being inspiring to others. And I want to know if you're reading a book that you really like right now, or if there was a book that you've read recently that you would recommend as something that would be something that we would be interested in looking at and reading too.
Yeah, the last book I read was, I think the title is I Am Malalia.
Oh, yeah. Was that good?
Yeah, okay.
It was phenomenal, and it was about this young girl that had gotten shot in the face, and because she wanted to be educated and have other girls in her community be educated, her father owned a school, and it was such an inspirational story, and it was really great. I actually read it during my year here as Miss USA, and that woman empowerment, it was quite the book to read. So that was my last read, and it was a really, really great book.
Well, I think our last read here is to thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
And to thank the USA, Miss USA organization for allowing you to come with us a second time. And we're going to have a game show for you. Let me give special thanks, if you don't mind, to one, our website, BayouBuzz.com. Secondly, Susan Finch, who co-produced this with me. And again, let me just say this, that the people on this panel are by far the superstars of Google Plus in so many different ways. And on behalf of Bayou Buzz and the state of Louisiana, let me thank you and the audience for joining us today. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you so much. I really enjoyed this.
That was just a little